Today's devotion is titled, What is Your Place in God's Plan? And we are on day 207. We're on July the 26th, and we are continually moving through the book of 2 Kings. So today's morning rinse for you to read is 2 Kings 9 through 12. And if you're new to this podcast, the morning rinse is the chapters that I have mapped out so that you can read the Bible through in a year. And the way that I've designed this book, which is all based upon my book called Rinse, Reflect, Repeat. And I did it Anita style, which was alphabetically. So we are on the K's, and we're on 2 Kings 9 through 12. So go ahead and read that, or listen to it on your favorite audio app. And then I pull out a featured verse from that passage and talk about it. I have two featured verses. They include 2 Kings 11, 1 and 2. When Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she rose and destroyed all of the royal offspring. But Jehoshabath, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons who were being put to death, and placed him and his nurse in the bedroom. So they hid him from Athaliah, and he was not put to death. So for the third day in a row, we read a story where death is prevalent. The stories surrounding today's featured verses show the tragic murders of the offspring of Ahaziah, the king of Judah. These deaths were ordered by his mother Athaliah when she found out that he was killed by Jehu, which was in chapter 9, 27 through 29. And due to his death, one of the sons was to become the heir to the throne, but Athaliah wanted the throne all to herself. Her evil mission was successful because the nation actually believed that all of the offspring were dead. So therefore, she sat on the throne ruling Judah. However, God had made the promise to the people that Jesus would be born from the line of David, which was from Ahaziah's lineage. Despite his mother trying to destroy Ahaziah's lineage, God's promise never fails. Ahaziah's sister, Jehoshabath, and the wife of Jehoiada, the high priest, hid Ahaziah's baby boy, Joash, from death's grip. So for 6 years, he lived with them in the synagogue while Athaliah ruled the land. So can you imagine the feeling of despair in the land at the thought that the promises that God had made appeared to be dead? Can you imagine the turmoil, the depression? It just was, they probably lost hope. I mean, these people must have felt just really hopeless, believing that the only way the Messiah would come to them was destroyed. But in the 7th year, Jehoiada secretly revealed to the rulers of the military that Joash was still alive. And this was in chapter 11, verse 4. I can only imagine the hope that began to stir in their hearts, knowing this reveal would change the course of Judah back to God's timetable. So during this reveal, a plan was set in place for Joash to walk out and be surrounded by all these guards for protection, as the rulers anticipated Athaliah would be in complete rage. Well, when Joash was revealed to the public and who he was, and they crowned him king, Athaliah was obviously furious, but she was put to death, and Joash reigned in her stead. Well, what is your place in bringing God's promise to life? Is your place to be a secret bearer protecting God's promise for his perfect timing? Is it to be a guard that protects the truth when the truth is being revealed? Is it to personally be willing to walk into God's calling and allow others to protect you as you fulfill the position that God has for you? Whether it's a secret bearer, a guard, or the one being guarded, God wants to use you. Maybe not in this extreme example, but I'm just imploring you to allow God to use you for his will and his purpose, whatever that is. Whatever that is. So today's challenge to dig deeper is to meditate on the questions that I just asked you and ask God what your place is in bringing his plan to fruition. Let's go over those questions again. What is your place in bringing God's promises to life? It may be for your family. It may be for you individually. It may be for someone very close to you. It may be for a spouse. It may be for your church. It may be for, a Sunday school class, or even just, if you are close to your pastor, it may be, one of his visions and something that God has really shown him. It could be any of these. So what is your place in bringing God's promise to life? Because God's given us all promises. He's given, hopefully, you've heard them already. But just like he gave the nation of Israel the promise that the line of David would be where Jesus came from, making that happen had to have come from Ahaziah. And Joash was that next lineage to bring it forth. And so bringing it forth had to have, there were great risks involved because they had to hide him and they had to keep that secret for 6 years. And so whatever God's promises in your life or in your loved one's life or surrounding you or someone that you know of, what is your role in that? Is it just to maintain the secret for years? It could be that. And because if the secret had gotten out that Joash was alive, I am sure that, Athaliah would have put him to death. So making sure that we protect secrets is so important for, that perfect timing. God's got a perfect timing, and to keep it a secret for his perfect timing is so vital. Maybe your place is to, guard the truth. There were guards around Joash when he came out to get revealed. Maybe it's guarding that when the reveal of God's, plan comes to fruition. Is it to be the one? Is it to be the one who carries that call, that promise? Just like Joash was the one that was actually the answer. Maybe it is you. Maybe you are the one that has to willingly walk out God's calling. Just maybe you are needing to learn how to allow others to, feed into you and to be a part of fulfilling that position that God has for you. Whatever position it is. And you might be listening to this going, this is so far-fetched. This is like, what in the world? How am I to ever have this be a personal feeling? How can this ever happen? And that can very well be what we feel with this story, because this story is just so crazy. When does something like this really happen? But there's something in your heart, I know, that God wants to use to bring about his plan, and hopefully you know what that is, or you have an idea and are willing to walk it out. And so as you pull out your journal today and you are reflecting on this story, and the third day in a row where there is death surrounding these stories. And whether it be a death of a dream, or whether that be a death of a person, or whether that be, someone actually on their deathbed, whatever that is, this is the third day in a row that we've been talking about this, and how that God will come at the 11th hour when a dream may be dying, or, a person is on their deathbed or whatever. God came and answered in that 11th hour. So with all of this, today, especially with fulfilling God's plan through a mission, was there something that God spoke to you today about your place in his plan? And you may have different roles for different plans, and those roles, may look different, may talk different, may be different. That's okay. But what did God talk to you about today with your plan and your place in that plan? I look forward to hearing some of it, because, every once in a while I'll get messages and people will share with me what they're, feeling and seeking and hearing from God. And I just pray that, you keep those promises forward. And so let me know if there's ever anything that you want to share. Certainly, I would love to hear what they are. And just always, too, look in the show notes for the link. You can always purchase another copy of my devotional. We are trekking through on the K books, and we'll start with the L, and those are going to be coming up here shortly. So until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.